Hey everyone, welcome to the North American LCS. We are back in here for our game of the week, Dignitas versus Team Liquid. Now, Coach Rico of Dignitas, talk to me about the road you've taken this team on. You were one game away from getting relegated out of the LCS. If you win here, you're tied for first place. How'd you make this so much better so fast?
I don't know. I think it's just a teamwork. You know, I didn't just come with like a magic wand and say like you're gonna be friends. No, it was like everybody was willing to win, and they were just, you know, I just tried to make sure they get to communicate together, to learn how to really play together, trust each other, and yeah.
Well, it certainly worked. Congratulations on your great efforts so far and the great growth of your team. Talk to me about this game in particular, up against Team Liquid. Dignitas and Old Curse Liquid have been rivals for a very long time. How did you prepare your team for this matchup?
Like any other game, like we take game one by one, and so we try to see what our opponents are playing, what are their strengths, their weakness, and most importantly, we always want to play our game. Like we don't want to react to the enemy game, so we just come up with comps, with plans, and we try to execute. And that's what we are trying to do now, is every game we have a plan and we try to execute it. When it works, it's good. When it doesn't work, we understand why and we improve in the next one.
You guys certainly improved a lot. So final question for you before I let you go and rejoin your team. Again, top 3 right now, maybe a tie for first. You're looking like maybe you're one of the teams going to Worlds. What's it going to take for you to bring Team Dignitas to the World Championship this year?
I will have to bribe every other team, maybe. No. Consistency, you know, they have the skill, they have the heart. Now they just need to, you know, keep being consistent, don't slack, keep practicing hard, and then it's going to be tough. Like the top 6 right now is very close, so everybody has a shot, I think.
I think so too. And you know, if you do bribe everyone, we're gonna have to find CLG for your transgressions here.
It goes to an association, right? It goes to a good cause. But.
Yeah, it's a good cause. Go ahead. Feel free to don't do any of that. No, that's it for me here with Coach Rico from Team Dignitas. We've got Jat standing by with Peter from Team Liquid.
Thanks, Freakin'. Yes, Peter with Team Liquid. First question I obviously have to ask, you guys won yesterday, and how does that impact your preparation and mood coming into this game against Team Dignitas for a game of the week?
I think I'm very happy yesterday we can close out the Cloud9 game because we have a such comeback yesterday. And we've been talking about the early mistake we made last game. So I think we prepared fine this game.
So I noticed in your game yesterday, you guys definitely had very defensive play down the stretch. There was a chance maybe you could have ended the game, but you guys backed off. Is that something you hope to improve on in the future? Are you over defensive now? How is the mindset of the team with those mistakes you've seen in the past?
I think this 1 week we lost 2 games against TSM that week. We can close out the game. Of course, it's also against Dignitas. We can close out the game very easily, but we make some super bad decision trying to rush the Nexus, which that make us probably think more defensive, because we think if we can win a game, we don't need to rush that hard. We can just slow it down and win game by snowball it.
Yeah, and final question for you here. The top 6 are so close. And Team Dignitas, this split is a legitimate threat. What do you think you have to worry about when you face Team Dignitas now, this split?
Oh, I think Game 2 is playing really good right now. So maybe we should do something on Game 2. And of course, Kiwi Kid is their main playmaker on the team. But I still think Special can handle that. So I don't think it will be a problem for us this time.
All right, Peter, thank you very much for the interview. Good luck in the game. Let's send it up to the caster desk to get it started.
Thank you very much, Jat. Hello, everybody. I am Rivington Bisson III, and joining me for our game of the week is going to be Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler and Aiden Zyrene Moon. Gentlemen, welcome to the desk.
I think Nick Allen just had a heart attack during those interviews.
But Charity got really happy just now.
Yeah, absolutely. Get hopes up. Get hopes up. So far now today, if you've been watching, we've had 3 barn burners. Let's see if it's going to be a 4th in a row. Now, this week's Battle Royale is Team Dignitas versus Team Liquid, an incredibly important match coming in here with TSM's loss in last game. Dignitas are playing right now to join Gravity and Team Solomid in that tie for first place. So big things coming up. And for Team Liquid, a win would mean moving up into 3rd place. So a lot of implications.
Yeah, and this split, Team Liquid, they've really been playing like they want that spot. And they have, though, been developing a strategy that's predictable now, because they keep on going back to these 5-man grouping comps that are built around, you know, a big speed boost and layering crowd control. Now, Dignitas, they're a team that, as Eureka was talking about, they're kind of a wild card because they come up with these team comps not, you know, really affected by what the other team is going to play, and they just play it through anyway, and if it works, then they're going to add it to the playbook. If not, rip that page out.
Yeah, that big Jarvan from Gamsu, the last time these teams met, it came down to late game, high pressure calls that weren't executed well. And you heard Peter talk about it on Liquid's side. It kind of scarred them and made them gun shy to close out other games we even saw this week. So Team Liquid, they showed a lot of hesitation. They need to just put that to the side, while Dignitas is now the team that we applaud for the complete opposite. Split-second decision-making has been the name of the game for them. They have been so decisive since they had Helios added to the roster.
Yeah, and I think it's really telling the two supports for these two teams. Kiwi Kid, he's been playing this engage style for so long. He's really at home with that style, whereas Xpecial, he's trying to take some things that Kiwi Kid does, like the early roaming, trying to make plays, and trying to be the engaged support for his team. He's trying to bring that to Team Liquid, but it's taken a bit.
Well, let's see if he can. We'll check out the starting lineups right now. There's a lot of game to go. On the blue side, it will be Team Dignitas to start things off. That's Gamsu in the top lane, Helios in the jungle, Shifter in mid, Core JJ to carry, and Kiwi Kid at support with Coach Rico.
And on the red side, it's Team Liquid. Up top is Quast in the jungle. I will dominate mid Phoenix, AD carry Piglet, and support Xpecial. Peter, of course, is the coach for them.
And as we were just talking about Dig, I think one of the biggest things is their night and day from spring to summer is how they were able to change that, along with having some issues coming out of one of the main roles that helps every lane, the jungle. And somehow this year it just hasn't seemed to affect them, and they're having a lot of fun in their games. Like you said, picking the compositions, and if they work, they flow with it.
And I absolutely love that they're trying these new things too. They're busting out the double TP and the Jarvan top, and it gives them that edge in these games. And these are things that help them be more decisive. A Jarvan jumping in, 2 TPs when you have really good calls ends up making big plays when they're executed properly.
Plus, it does help that Shifter has really embraced the new mid lane, taking Smite and going Runeglaive on pretty much any champion. No, but
make it work.
It is a select few set of champions. None of them finding themselves on the ban list so far, so definitely still open. A lot of big frontliners, though. Team Dignitas banning out some large bodies. They may be setting themselves up for one of those Runeglaive champions. I did mention yesterday that Shifter, he's even played AP Ezreal before Runeglaive came out, so I really thought that Dignitas were going to use it at some point. Yesterday, they actually used the Ezreal for Core JJ. Maybe they were sort of opening themselves up to possible swapping of roles, swapping of flex picks.
Because if you draft it very early on, they're going to start counter drafting for it, and then you throw it AD carry. Ooh, it could be a curveball if they throw into the plans.
The other thing jumping out here is that 2 of the engaged supports banned out really early, and the 3rd main one picked up here for Team Dignitas. You can definitely see where their head is at with this pick bans. Nautilus Annie off the board, early grab on Alistar. They've got the front line there already set up.
Nice and easy pickup for Dignitas to start things. Liquid does not waste any time in their picks, now causing Dignitas to kind of have to react quickly to this. Obviously still have a minute to do so, but Rek'Sai and that Sivir picked up a lot of, or what we heard, the second AD carry that really people are going to after that Kalista, along with Ezreal, but he's been mid.
Right, so they do, by taking this first round Sivir Rek'Sai, leave open, of course, the Ezreal that will be flex pick for Dignitas. However, it's still a really strong early round here. The Gragas is banned. They're going to take away the other T1 jungler for Dominate. I think the big discrepancy here that Dignitas have been able to leverage, though, is the huge advantage for Kiwi Kid in that battle of playmaking supports. Kiwi Kid has the better tool. He has the best tool. Especially, it's going to be hard for him to answer an Alistar roam, especially with Annie and Nautilus down.
We have been seeing from Unicorns of Love, we saw Braum come out to counter some pokes. So if they do go with a poke, they still have the support that can make some plays and lock people up as well.
True. I mean, even though Runeglaive was released on this patch, Braum also got buffs as well. So there are things that you can use to work around it.
Feels good. Body Drop tried his hand at it, I believe. We had a Braum play yesterday, so trying as they may actually see it come into this game as well. It had a good effect.
Of course, there is the flex pick coming through. We don't know where that's going to go. Yesterday was Core JJ on that. Shifter showed that he does have some Runeglaive practice with the Diana band away from him this game.
True.
So this is a really good pick for Dignitas that was kind of set up from yesterday, and I absolutely love this. So Helios goes with the other pressure jungler kind of left at this point, aside from Italy, and there they go. There's some hard engage coming in to add on top of the Sivir. This is the point and click that we saw last game against AP Ezreal.
Looks like we're going to leave Phoenix up for that last pick as well. The point and click is going to be helping, as long as it doesn't take them too deep into the fight. But then again, Team Liquid kind of has that shored up by the Sivir speed to move in if they can't get on that first engage. What can Dignitas rebuttal with, though? They have 2 choices left. Their final picks here after having Alistar, Eve, and Ez.
This is where they show. This is where they show if it's an AP mid or
Right.
I'm actually still kind of hung up on the Evelynn pick for Dignitas. I'm really not a fan of picking Eve into Rek'Sai because her later game is already she kind of has a hard time, and the Tremor Sense just really takes away a lot of her power. But they still have another round to move forward here, and that combo we've seen before, the Korkir Ezreal, of course.
Looks like that is actually going to be Shifters Varus to come in with the lock-in. Shen as well for the Gamsu top lane.
Yeah, I mean, with them already showing support of Thresh and not Braum for Team Liquid, the poke comp.
That's a good point.
Yep.
You know, even though you're facing a sped up Maokai, still definitely viable. Alistar, as we said, is a great bodyguard and can try and intercept. Plus, now you've got the Shen Stand United on top of it, so extra protection for the back line. Team Liquid do need to, I feel like Team Liquid do need to double down on this hard engage because, you know, Sivir boosted Rek'Sai Maokai is one thing. They need to put some damage behind it, though. Phoenix is going to have to bring the lion's share of the DPS for this Team Liquid squad.
We thinking a Nazir, we thinking a Yasuo like he did yesterday. There's a lot of things left for him. I don't think he's going to go back to poke like Jace.
Yeah, you mentioned the Yasuo. I actually really like it with the front line of Rek'Sai and Maokai, both able to set him up, and they'll be speed boosted.
Get to the back line. Another hard engaged champion here for Phoenix into the back line with the Twisted Fate. This is... Both teams have some globals here, and he's going to take TP as well in the mid lane.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he'll sit on that Summoner, but I do like the Twisted Fate since he can build Seekers early if he's expecting this Varus mid. CoreJJ on his main account in North American Solo Queue, though, he plays Varus both mid and AD carry, so they can still swap these around. Of course, these 2 AD carries viable in both roles, as we've seen played in multiple regions already.
They're locked in. 20 seconds on the clock. You have no more chance to change it around, so that is going to be the Ezreal mid. CoreJJ takes the Varus to the bot lane. I believe the first time we'll see him on this champion. Like you said, though, Kobe, he does take that into solo queue, so no stranger to it.
Yep.
Dignitas has been able to defeat Team Liquid in their previous meeting in Week 4. We'll see if they can carry momentum from some of their recent games as well. Yesterday's win over Team 8 and recent wins over other teams, Liquid, Enemy, Impulse. It's been good for them.
So just looking at the team comps, Dignitas went for a team composition that's all about poke, and then it was countered by some hard engage, but split push. You have a Maokai, you have a Twisted Fate who didn't take TP. He went away from that spell, but you also have a Rek'Sai and a Sivir. So there's rotational play here, there's hard engage, and there's split push.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Keep updating your votes with each twist and turn of the game. Tweet hashtag DIGWin or hashtag TLWin to @NA Esports, and we'll keep those updated throughout the game. We're about to be on the Rift. We got the TriCast going on, coming in for Dignitas versus Team Liquid. It's going to be a good one, and we're going to bring this one to you all that we can. Dig versus Liquid. We're on the Rift, and it's going to be a good game. These guys are looking at the top of the table right now. Liquid to move up. Dignitas looking for a share of that first place.
Yeah, I mean, it comes a little later, but I'm glad the setup was there. 4 shifters, AP, Ezreal. Now he gets to try it on with the Rune Glaive on top, and Dignitas were able to utilize that flex to mess with the damage types for Phoenix, yes.
Yep.
Because we have that rule of the 20 seconds, though, he was able to get armor. Gamsu, though, under fire, forced to level taunt.
Gamsu hit very, very close to some initiation there and a first blood. Talking a little bit to the players beginning before the games. Dominate says in a lot of ways, he and Kiwi were cut from the same cloth.
I've always thought Kiwi was like a decent player. It's just he's the type of player that's not afraid to make a play and look bad doing it, which it's kind of like me. I see like kind of like the same type of qualities that we have. Like we're not afraid to make plays. And sure, if a play doesn't go right, you're gonna look like a complete idiot. But if it does go well, you can win the game off it.
Reminds me of how the end of Team Liquid Dignitas went last time. That final call.
Let's see who looks like the idiot today.
But it'll still be all right.
Both teams
That's
played
what
Champion
they're
Select really well, though. Back and forth, and the fact that they were hiding so much for so long.
Yeah.
Even to the last 20 seconds of the Champion Select, it looked like it was going to be an Ezreal in the bot lane.
Well, every team can't switch and flex as much as Gravity does. These guys still try to, and they do a very good job at it.
But I love seeing that used because it gives you an edge coming in, because you saw the Twisted Fate come through, and it had to be a pick that was effective against both champions.
Ooh, early move here. Especially, we talked about him trying to mimic the plays that Kiwi Kid likes to do early, roaming top specifically. This time goes mid, though. Wants to make his presence felt. Meanwhile, Kiwi Kid is leveling up. He's sitting in the brush on the bottom lane, so he's soaking up experience. As far as the duo goes, Alistar, you do need to get that level 2 before you can actually be effective. And Kiwi Kid trying to do that before he goes for a roam.
And Special, though. Special going into the blue side jungle. He's going to get a little bit of presence here. They're going to check on it. It is the strong side of the map. You can see Helios wants to pick up that buff.
Kiwi Kid was unable to soak that level 2 before trying to answer roam, so Kiwi Kid had to back, and he wants to get up to the top side. Dignitas are making the move to slip 3 people in during the lane swap. So this is that risky move that we've seen tried to pull off so many times. They do have Shen already under the cover of turret, but Kiwi Kid and Helios are kind of
going around the back.
On the outside still.
He's not going to do anything with it, though. And they're all just going to move up top, so they actually just answered everybody to the top side. So now,
but they were cut off.
They're cut off. Core JJ down bottom by himself. He's soaking experience during all of this.
Kiwi is trying to make his way in. What a hectic beginning of the game. Liquid is just pretty much keeping Dignitas on the fence here. The wave gets cleared. They can move in. They have one at the turret as well. It looks like they'll be able to stay safe for now. But interesting start as Liquid tries to get a few things on their plate.
Yeah, interesting. Well, it really pays off for Team Dignitas, and that is a risky move that we've seen backfire so many times. But Team Liquid unwilling to go for that dive because we know how poorly it will turn out for you if you mess up that early dive. So for a short amount of time, that short window, Dignitas get the experience lead because they got experience from 3 lanes since Core JJ was all alone down bottom.
So they're not okay with making that play. Dominate live.
But it's also against the Shen. It is so hard to dive a Shen. They learned from watching.
You have an Alistar right behind you.
TSO.
Yeah.
We saw how that went when Cali Trolls went. But look at this, the flash!
Not afraid to go in when they have the advantage, though. Special very low. That flash puts him in range of melee. Still 3 members of Dignitas here. One last Vorpal Blade and a Hate Spike to come out. They take him down, and Piglet's left alone.
Kiwi Kid shows him how it's done. Yes, you visit mid lane and mess with my mid laner, but straight up head to head. And he's got the support of an Evelyn. Helios making his rounds at the top side of the map. Really well played by Dignitas out of the lane swap. And Team Liquid unable to make them pay for the riskier attempt at a lane swap answer here from Team Dignitas.
And a lot of that came down to jungle movements. The fact that Helios is on the top side of the map and Dom decides to go to the bottom to continue to farm. When you are in a lane swap, you need to have something in your sights at all time, whether it's a turret, whether it's helping out a teammate or breaking freeze. And Helios was on point with that.
That first top starts, or the first attack top, I should say, starts to sting Piglet a little bit. He falls behind 10 CS without having the pressure on his lane. Core JJ is having a field day down here.
Yeah, he's getting solo experience. So this Varus, you know, because he was swapped into the bomb side, I thought he was going to have a later power spike, but he's gotten solo experience thus far, and he's going to continue to do that. So he's going to be on track for that mid lane Varus power spike. And this is, as I said, the champion that Core JJ oftentimes in solo queue, if he doesn't get AD carry as the role, he picks Varus mid. So he's got plenty of practice on, you know, a solo experience level of Varus play.
That's a good point.
Very excited to see how he's able to do when they group with the team.
Hit those common benchmarks he's used to as the game goes on being solo. For 500 gold about in the lead here. Not too much that Dignitas can work with, but they're feeling pretty good about how the game started and may have the Inklings to be the ones to start off on some of these engages. Still a poke team. They'll get that damage in before they really try anything. Looking at 6 now on to Phoenix. Could be a power point for the team to start making some of their own plays.
Exactly that map pressure. Now you can see Core JJ can't push up far enough to continue shoving that wave, and that that experience is just going to keep going to Quas. He's going to be able to pick up the CS in that bot lane, because if he goes too far forward, it's just the point and click that's going to lock him up.
Yeah, very curious where Helios is going to try and pressure, because the goal of Team Liquid's top duo as well as mid lane is to constantly press in with the Sivir and Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate going to try and pressure Shifter and open up room for a teleport. But Helios on Evelyn, invisible early, the perfect setup to try and punish that way. He already punished top for it. But Shifter, just trying to keep up in farm. Not much he can do at this point to answer the Twisted Fate shove. So the other two lanes just have to try and play around the windows where Shifter shoves his lane, and he has the possibility of going for that teleport gank. But thus far, you know, Shen Alistar, that's not an easy one to go for.
And speaking of the shoving lanes, you see CoreJJ actually runs middle to help shove it out, and then he goes back down bottom. He needs, oh no, he's actually just wrapping around here.
The famed Varus gank, level 6, is gonna snipe him with the ultimate here, try and burn a summoner.
He's trying to do something and have active time on the map instead of just farming down bottom when the lane is being freezed towards the Maokai.
Yeah, you
If he
cannot
pushes too forward.
Find yourself walking
it's a
in
Maokai
circles.
Rek'Sai. You can't really walk out into the long lane there.
And then Twisted Fate as well on top of it. You just put yourself at so much risk, and he's not willing to take it. Instead, he's just trying to be active.
Yeah, so both side lanes for Team Dignitas playing around the Twisted Fate shove, as we were looking for. So very calm and collected play here for Shifter and the rest of the squad early on as he tries to farm up to Runeglaive.
So no turrets taken off of the lane swap, and now you're going to see Sivir come back down bottom here. Piglet swapped down, so they're going to get some time while Kiwi Kid isn't in that bot lane.
See how this works for him, pushing the mid lane as well on that. You're going to see a back from Phoenix. You might even get a back from Shifter here as they start to rotate over. It looks like a blue transfer is just going to be all that they get on the side of Dignitas here. Team Liquid's ward line just down the river so far in the game here, making sure that Helios doesn't get any good ganks or flanks around the outside, but also without Liquid able to get those wards in where Helios is farming and whatnot, they may not know where he's coming from if the lane gank comes in.
That's one of the things with the Varus Q. If you charge it and fire from Fog of War, really easy to get harassed on your opponents if they're not Sivir. So Piglet there, gonna have the reaction time. You know, with the changes to missiles coming out of Fog of War, definitely will be alerted. No more invisible in spears.
And a large portion of the fact when they did swap it back and it was a Varus down bottom, the Varus into Sivir matchup, Varus, his poke is so few and far between early on that it's spell shielded very frequently, very easily. But he does have that range advantage, but a lot of his burst damage in the trades is actually proccing his W after the trade.
Yeah, especially since he is going with the 80 carry line of build instead of the tier into cooldown reduction from Brutalizer. No tier plus no Brutalizer means obviously a lot less spam. There goes the Dragon though. Dominate is able to pick up the objective. So that's kind of the only reward that Team Liquid got for the shoving advantage. The shoving advantage of the Twisted Fate and the Sivir early on was dealt with fairly well by Team Dignitas. And as they scale their 80 carries up, they will get more wave clear to try and answer that of Team Liquid. But the early Dragon is going to be the cost that they pay.
There are so many pink wards on the bottom right-hand side of the map from Team Liquid. It really looks like they're trying to concentrate this area down and get some roams to that direction. But Helios, he's already here. They don't have vision of where Twisted Fate is at the moment.
Now, a Sivir Thresh is one of the most difficult to gank. Both top laners have teleport, though.
Activation of the bomb alarm towards the top side, but the fight's on the bottom. Teleport behind from Quas. He's in a great spot. Here comes Phoenix with the gate as well. See if he can get out of this fight. Quas has a great hold on the back line right now. Another Arcane Smash keeps CoreJJ almost in range. Gamsu is able to get his dash out of there. Quick play coming in from Team Liquid with that 6 Phoenix.
As we say it, the Sivir Thresh were the most difficult games to... Well, they're not done here. They're going to try and run Gamsu off.
Well, they didn't even
zone him.
They didn't even use heal there. Piglet didn't even have to heal special. He knew he was fine with the shield. And a huge part of that play is we've talked about a whole bunch. When When stuff goes down bottom, everybody has to be ready to jump down there.
Yeah.
When there's a Twisted Fate in the game, it's just even more prevalent.
Overcommitting on a Silver Thresh is just kind of heartbreaking to see because good spell shield there from Piglet. Then, you know, just out of range as well from the ultimate from Core JJ. There's the big opening that Team Liquid were waiting for. See what they can do with it, though. Trying to get some deep vision off of the bottom play here. You know, they weren't able to take any objectives, so it was just the kill money. But they did get some time open on Summoner's Rift to be able to get those wards out. So I get a look at it again here. Piglet able to special with the combo. Then X special does get a bit close, but that Varus ultimate missing was huge. Big combo on X. Oh, he flashed the arrow. So about that calculation of him being okay with just a shield, I think that might have just been a gut check thing, but they are able to chase it down, and especially even comes back to re-enter the fight just in case.
The headbutt pulverized both portions of it, ate the spell shield. Kind of have to space him out there. Let the headbutt eat it and then Q afterwards, but normally you expect it so the headbutt doesn't knock him all the way back.
It becomes that mind game that we were talking about yesterday with all these Sivir into Alistar lanes of when, at what point does the Alistar start playing the mind game and not doing the instant combo, you know, preying on the reactions of the AD carry. I think it's a fairly good bet at the moment just because all the AD carries have trained themselves to quickly spell shield the combo. There goes Phoenix though.
Oh, to Helios. He's looking to make plays by himself. Helios only with that Trailblazer on, and he's going for damage anyways. Like you said, squishy, Zyrene. True Shot Barrage comes right across. They'll get the record kill. No, Phoenix doesn't go down the... Really? Mystic Shot misses. They finally pick it up. I thought he was going to be able to squeak his way out of there. Core JJ looking to follow up with a piercing arrow, and the spell shield from Piglet keeps them safe. Only a few summoners used on the side of Team Liquid there.
Gamsu's TP got interrupted during that fight. He was trying to TP to that pink ward in the Tri-Brush, and Quas stopped it.
Very big play from the top lane. That could have changed much more, solidifying a few more kills and putting Dig right back in this one. Right now, the control from Team Liquid, once they finally got wards right behind Dragon Pit after that bottom fight, they seem fearless to make some more plays.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really, really aggressive move from Team Liquid. But Dignitas, with the more defensive setup, able to collapse really quickly, even though Shen's teleport stopped by Quas with the Twisted Advance there. Still able to capitalize, and Shifter very happy to get that early kill onto Runeglaive Ezreal. That boosted him up to the needlessly large rod, and it's the 2-item power spec that you really got to worry about with this guy. Either Luden's Echo or Deathcap completed in combination with the Runeglaive is where he really starts to hurt, and you get a lot more, you know, ability to answer the global effect of Team Liquid with the Ezreal ult once it becomes empowered, boosted by all this AP because of the ridiculous AP ratio on it.
I don't like talking about it.
Makes me feel sad.
I know. I know I'm going to have to talk about it sometime this game.
See, that's when you just play it. You got to
join
him.
Actually,
join him if you can.
If you want to talk about different items, the Lich Bane on the other side here for Phoenix, instead of you know, going for the Zhonya's, I think that this is due to you know, the flex there from Dignitas, because they want Twisted Fate to eventually get a Zhonya so they can engage on the backline, on the Varus, on the Ezreal. But you know, because his opponent is magic damage, is the Ezreal, he has gone for Lich Bane. So maybe they opt for more side lane pushing with him. It did pay off a little bit with the early burst going for his kill onto Evelynn, but because he was so deep, definitely paid the price.
Yeah, it's a big part of this comp later on. The Poke comp wants to group up with Poke and Siege. This comp wants to split push. They want to have some wave clear, but they also want to have people who can go off to the side lanes like Twisted Fate and Siege turrets down, have Maokai go off to the side, TP in or flank, and get to that back line. There is so much danger towards his back line.
Right. And you can see that split pushing you're talking about from Liquid is keeping Dig in the lanes. You mentioned, I don't know how long ago, these pink wards that are hovering the bottom right side of the map that are still there. Dig's not able to move forward or wanting to right now and clear any of those or have any intention to. So they're playing pretty safe.
It gave him full control of that bottom side jungle too. It's hard to clear them though, because you can be collapsed on fairly quickly. Boss has his TP back up.
Well, more plays could come from this. Very deep wards already placed by Red. Easy push in from Quas in the top lane. One punch to the turret. Dragon as well going down here on your screen. Team Liquid making very good moves right now to put Team Dignitas a little bit behind in the game. We're just 17 minutes in.
Yeah.
Liquid looks like they have good win conditions on their mind.
Yeah, Dignitas very much content to give away the early dragons because the buffs early on don't mean that much, and stacking up isn't that big of a fear for them. There's something else that's really strong about poke comps that's not mentioned as much, is that the fear of neutral objectives and vision control, stacking up isn't as much because poke comps come inherently with so many ways to check without having wards down, because they have all these abilities to throw out, poke the brush. Makes it a bit easier for them if they're working with neutral objective deficits. It's not ideal, but they do have more ways to try and poke around.
Also, poke by nature, you don't want to walk up to where they are. You want to go somewhere else and start poking and sieging down. If they're in a dragon pit with a Maokai, he's just going to flash engage on you. He has ways in.
Right.
So you want to stay away from these objectives until you've hit your power spike, and then you shove them out, you shove them, make them go to mid, you get them to half HP, then you go get the objective. So they're waiting for those types of spikes.
Poke comps have restraining orders on the other team.
Yeah.
You want to keep that restraining order in place.
But it doesn't activate until way later.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this Runeglaive Ezreal, they're being punished early on. They're a poke squad that hasn't been able to get any turret pressure. So Team Liquid are playing well, playing accordingly to the double AD carry. Poke set up from Team Dignitas. Really, the turning point comes after Team Liquid knock down these outer turrets. They use the first fight where Team Liquid try and use the global gold advantage of the outer turrets to chase them down, use the Sivir and the Twisted Fate to try and catch one of these guys. That's really going to be the most telling point, because if it's ineffective and they're not able to get the pick, I've seen so many times where the poke-heavy team is able to just weather the early game storm and come back very strong with a mid-game siege and just get so much of the money back through outer turrets.
Team Liquid forcefully pushing themselves through, stealing red and clearing out a few of the pink wards that Dignitas finally put down to get Liquid's wards out. They are really putting a stranglehold down right now onto what Dignitas is trying to do. Shifter still getting well farmed in mid. Got to wait for him to ramp up a little bit more, and they are avoiding fights.
Yeah, a lot of division in favor of Team Liquid.
Yeah, they keep putting it down as soon as it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And also Helios hasn't completed his Sightstone. Doesn't even look like he might be going for one this game.
No.
You're going to lack in that vision control. And I was talking about it before with Dignitas. This is a team that needs vision in order to execute these decisive calls. And if they do it without it, that's kind of the Achilles heel of this team.
Yeah, that is true to an extent. For this game specifically, though, since they have gone the siege that you mentioned, they are looking to group up, a lot in lanes. Plus, they have the reactive ability to use the Shen ultimate. So maybe less so in this specific comp.
We haven't heard too much.
But definitely true for the team overall. Yeah, agree.
We'll see if Gamsu can make those plays anytime soon. We have seen a very, very calm Dignitas. Finally, some sweeping going on in the jungle from Helios. Top lane back and forth. Quas has had no trouble pushing this lane up here. A solid player, as always, for Team Liquid, and continuing to win his lane here in this game against Dignitas. Remember, Dig took this first matchup between Liquid back in week 4. Liquid does not want to see that happen again. It looks like they're showing it.
It's a 4,000 gold advantage that's just kind of crept up over these 20 minutes to Team Liquid's side. They're just getting some pick kills. They're playing to their comp's advantage, and they're playing towards the power trough of Dignitas right now because they're still trying to get to these item breakpoints. It's still the Needless to Large Rod in Shifter's inventory. He hasn't gotten a second item just yet, and Team Liquid are just splitting up. They're sieging down as fast as they can, and they're split pushing. They're not really looking for these fights, but Kiwi Kid is a little out of position here.
This could be big. Throw on the Unbreakable Will. He'll be fine for now, but Quas is going to be right where he wants. He's going to go on to Helios with Piglet. Everybody gets an assist on that one. Core JJ and Shifter, the two DPSers on the outside, but I don't think they can put anything back into the fight. Gamsu's forced to flash out, and Team Liquid and Quas go headstrong into the composition of Dignitas.
There's that fight I was looking for. The first fight where Team Liquid get to use the big global gold advantage. They find the pick, finally, with the Twisted Fate, with the Sivir speed boost, chasing down Kiwi Kid. And Man, Helios on the Evelyn pick. I'm still not a fan of the Evelyn pick. Straight into the Rek'Sai, but also in poke comps especially.
Yeah, it's not that convincing. It doesn't do a whole lot of peel. It doesn't help poke. It doesn't really supplement the team at all. And Team Liquid have already been playing around it. They put all these pink wards down. The ward they TPs to is already there. I talked earlier, you can't clear these pink wards. You're going to get collapsed on just like this.
Yeah, if the ward is a reason for Phoenix to come in, the rest of the team to get a teleport on something close. And right now, with the light bright they have built in the bottom side of the jungle, it was crazy.
Back-to-back games, seeing the AP Ezreal power trough being punished fairly effectively.
Yeah.
It's also blue side picked. You really get to punish that pick. You get to draft whatever you want as that last pick into it. We've seen a Jarvan, we've seen Twisted Fate so far, and they both look rather good.
Yeah. Saw the Ahri, Shao versus Inox.
Yeah. So the deficit of having to try and work around 2 or 3 turrets advantage is what you expect to give up when you run one of these scaling poke-oriented comps, and of course all the dragons early. However, that crucial part to me is the team fight chase. When Team Liquid are able to actually find that pick and use the Sivir speed, that makes the comeback.
Yeah.
Even with the power going to move up there with the Ezreal finally completing the 2 items, makes it really difficult. And Phoenix, it looks like he's actually not even going to move. Well, he could go either way right now. He's got the makings of whatever he wants to go with. He could turn it into Deathcap or use the Amp Tome to also go for the Zhonya's if they want to, double down on the hard engage and actually come up with those Messiah-type plays. I wonder if he actually will go Deathcap or Zhonya's. I'd say Zhonya's more versatile.
Getting to that backline is important here.
But Phoenix, he's liking his time in the spotlight. He wants to make. He
feels like a god.
Yeah, he feels like a god now. He wants to make big plays.
I can't
more
die.
damage.
Go to the backline Zhonya's. It'll work out.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But speaking of not dying, even though Shifter hit his 2-item spike, there's already a lock-in completed on Dominate. We already have the Righteous Glory on Quas with the Spectre's Cowl, so these guys are ready to charge forward through the APS.
You're only one recipe piece off the Talisman of Ascension for Xpecial as well, so it's going to be very hard to break the engage from Team Liquid bringing to the table. Going around 25 minutes here in the game. Wards are starting to be pinged out a little bit more by Dignitas. They're saying these are where the pinks are, control some, get a bit of our map back, because right now it doesn't look like they own too much here on the Rift.
So what Team Liquid is doing is they're trying to ward up the sides in the jungle, and they're going to try to 1-3-1 split push and contest objectives throughout the river and see what they can get, test all of the parts of the armor, and see where the crack is.
Yeah. Plus, since they can keep Team Dignitas boxed up at their secondary turret line, they can starve Dignitas of ward coverage, and it makes it really easy to just chain the dragons. So since they've gotten all 3 of the initial ones, they actually don't have to take the super risky play and start Baron. All they really need to do around Baron is go for bait plays. They never actually have to take the damage and even risk the actual initiation inside the Baron pit. They can just try and starve out Team Dignitas and go for the dragon stacking, which is way more safe and reliable.
I say, I've said it a few times, but the ward game by Liquid is impeccable this game. They have always kept them up. There's always 3 to 4 pink wards on the map. They are making this a living hell for Helios and anybody else that wants to try to flank, because it's one of the ways they can get back in, and it's not going to happen with this many wards.
Yeah, Helios, no Sightstone, and the Baron being started up here by Team Liquid. They have all the coverage.
Yeah, it's a Dominate special. Loves going for the early one.
Oh boy, oh boy. That's a lot of damage right there. Gonna have to take a quick back out Xpecial. It almost cost him his life to be a tank there for the Baron, but Liquid comes up with it. They'll be back to the lanes that they already have pretty nicely pushed and prepped to get into the base.
And this is absolutely amazing for a 1-3-1 split push comp. They can continue the split push. Twisted Fate Ultimate was used there to scare away people who wanted to go towards the Baron. Core JJ pretty much just backed off of the minion wave thinking that it was going to be towards him, and he couldn't even go towards the Baron to assist.
Well, Dignitas knows they are on the back foot now. Not a place they have been too much within the season. Maybe a few thousand gold the early game to the mid game right now, but Coming on 8,000 right now.
They've been down about 10,000 gold. We've seen comebacks from Team Dignitas.
Yeah.
They've had these decisive calls, but the thing is, this is not a composition that allows you to say, let's just go and kill them. It is set up, siege, almost kind of set up the turret, and then go.
All right, well, I do have an update on the Phoenix situation. He's going for playmaking ability rather than just raw blowing up
This just
the target.
He's going to go for both. Death Cap is next.
He will get it pretty soon as well. They can just keep Dignitas boxed up inside their defenses here for as long as they want and continue to mine the entire map here of resources. Team Liquid really milking this lead here.
They're playing very methodical. The last time they lost to Team Dignitas was off of that late game call in the final 2 minutes.
Oh,
Look at this, they're going for a decisive call.
Very close. The Lantern's there if anybody wants to get out. Looks like they do want to stay and try to kill Kiwi Kid. Gamsu comes in at the right time. Quas right to the backside. He's going to get a smash on, but it doesn't really stop too much. It is Core JJ and Kiwi that have finally fallen down. They're going right past the turret. Quas, Vengeful, Maelstrom denying so much damage that Dignitas is trying to put back into the fight. And Liquid just put a stranglehold on Dignitas in that top lane and take him down.
You split, you pressure, you group up, and you engage.
Counter-engage.
What a game where Team Liquid has put their foot down. We heard Peter coming in talking about what would kind of be the pivotal guys they need to lock down. A little bit of Kiwi Kid, a little bit of Gamsu. They had good pressure on those guys in the beginning, and they were able to come up strong.
They're just going to go for game here.
Dominating victory.
It is going to be very dominating. Coming out strong, 27:58 on the clock, 10-2 in kills. Team Liquid will take the 1-1 over Team Dignitas.
If your team is having trouble with those late game high pressure situations, don't let it go late game and have to make those decisions. Just end the game. 28 minutes for Team Liquid.
If life gives you AP Ezreal as your opponents, just beat them early. Squeeze them until they lose.
Really, really good by Team Liquid, though. They identified in Champion Select they needed some hard engage here, regardless of what type of Ezreal it was going to be, and Dignitas played into their hands. The split push comp worked perfectly. The pressure they were able to create off the early picks and the turret takes, and then abusing the power trough of Shifter on that AP Ezreal. Well played there by Team Liquid.
Yeah, glad to see back-to-back teams, instead of crying about AP Ezreal, coming up with an answer.
Yeah.
You draft for it.
Absolutely. Strong game coming out all around from Team Liquid, focusing the right lanes, completely shutting down the Evelynn pick in more than one way, which really was Helios diving with the team in previous games to get some lanes going. And then it seems like Dignitas can carry themselves. Without that push in the beginning, they're kind of there at a loss for finding a way back into the game. Also, seeing the Ezreal come out now for Shifter, still very powerful, like we said, countered though, not anything like the strength of his Diana. It seems like that's a much more comfortable pick for him, going in, fighting, being aggressive.
And that helps when your team is all about decisive calls and jumping in. That has been how Dignitas has been winning these games.
Right, and then they switch it up.
And this is just another type of strategy that they tried to pull out here. We talked about the Jarvan, we talked about the double TP from Dignitas, going with a different strategy. This one didn't seem as close to their forte as what we've seen in the past, but it's just another thing they're trying this season. They're still tied for third place.
I think they'll realize that they were really outvisioned in this game, and it took them apart completely, real quick.
Oh yeah, watching all those wards placed, the pink wards, you can't clear those out when the team has the ability to just jump you when you do so.
It looked semi-good in the beginning, the way they swapped, the way they did things. They had Core JJ farming up by himself, but weren't able to use anything. They kind of fell behind first dragon, second dragon, and they weren't able to come back. Strong play from Team Liquid, as now I believe they move into third place, as we were saying. Still hot on the heels of number 1 and number 2, but work to go for these teams. Top teams right now are very strong.
Yeah, it's pretty scary up there. Well,
it's scary at the bottom, too.
Yeah, it's still moving around. All of North America, it's scary. Nobody, what's going on here? Everybody keeps shifting around. But Team Liquid, definitely a really strong win for them, and they did break away from their, crowd control stacking, AoE pattern that they had fallen into.
They still had speed, they still had CC, but it was all just grouped about, or not grouped up, but spread around. And I really liked that because it was exactly what you wanted against that composition.
Yep.
So looking at Dignitas, kind of what can we say about them during this game? Without obviously saying too much, are they trying too much now? Did they feel too comfortable? Did they kind of get relaxed like Rico said he didn't want them? What kind of do we think happened here?
I think they played into the fact that AP Ezreal's really strong, and they didn't really see what was coming from the other side. It's kind of about pivoting in champion select. It was, we were talking about how they picked Ezreal yesterday to almost bait it today. When you see the bait coming, it's pretty obvious.
I saw it coming.
Kobe saw it coming a mile away.
All right, well, we're going to get a better look at it. For more on the lowdown of Team Liquid's methodical win, let's send it down to Freak on the red side.
Thank you very much, Riv. Great cast so far in the day. I'm here with Piglet to talk about that awesome game of League of Legends. You guys crushed that game really hard. Did you expect to win that convincingly?
이번에 되게 잘 경기하셔서 승리하셨는데요. 그 예상하셨나요?
사실 연습을 요즘에 팀 연습할 때 뭐 이제 하는 방법을 바꿔서 좀 이제 대회할 때 문제점이나 아니면 스크림 할 때 문제점을 이제 고쳐나가는 방법을 바꿔서 좀 이렇게 잘 나온 것 같아요.
So when we scrimmed, we switched things around. We practiced, we fixed all the mistakes that we used to make, and now that turned out well.
And you guys look very good. I want to ask you about the new hotness AP Ezreal, Runeglaive Ezreal in the mid lane. Do you think it's strong? Do you think it was the right choice for Dignitas here?
그 미드질리얼이 좀 인기가 많은데 이번에 디그니타스가 픽한 게 좋은 픽이었다고 생각하시나요?
사실 저희가 생각할 때 미드 이즈리얼이 그렇게 좋다고 생각하지도 않았고, 그리고 이제 저희는 카운터가 있어서 상대가 뭐 그걸 하든 뭐 안 하든 저희는 저희가 딱 원한 운영을 딱 한 것 같아요 지금. 그래서 좀 잘 나온 건 것 같아요.
First off, we didn't really think mid Israel is that good, and we also had a counter pick for that. So, and then we could go either way if they choose mid Israel or not. So I think we were well prepped for that.
Well, it's good to hear. That obviously worked well for you guys. Next question for you. You guys have had a lot of very tough losses. People consider you one of the best teams in North America, but you've lost a lot of very close games. How do you stay focused in these games to make sure you're making the right choices to win them?
팀 리퀴드가 좋은 팀이긴 하지만 또 여러 경기를 좀 졌었잖아요. 그래서 앞으로 어떤 식으로 경기를 해나갈 것이면 그 앞으로의 계획에 대해서 좀 설명해 주세요.
사실 저번 스프링 시즌 때 너무 아쉬웠어가지고 우선 저는 요즘에 더 연습을 많이 하고 있고 저희 팀원들도 연습을 열심히 하고 있어서 이번에는 그래도 더 잘 나올 것 같아요. 왜냐하면 그리고 제가 또 뉴욕 가서 그 뉴욕 경기장에 가서 경기를 해보고 싶어서 꼭 가보고 싶습니다.
So last season was a little bit disappointing for our team, but now I'm practicing a lot more. My team's practicing a lot more, and I also really want to play at Madison Square Garden in New York. So I hope this season I'll play better.
All right, well, final question for you here, Piglet. You play Team Solo Mid next weekend. What's it going to take to beat these guys?
다음 주에 그 TSM과 경기하시는데요. 어떻게 해야지 승리할 수 있을까요?
우선 TSM이 픽을 잘하기 때문에 저희가 픽밴을 더 잘하면 이길 것 같고, 그리고 저희 바텀은 TSM 바텀한테 앉을 자신도 있어서 저번 경기처럼 또 10분 만에 타워를 밀 수 있을 것 같아요.
So TSM has a good pick generally, so we're gonna work hard on drafting a good pick, and also I think our bot lane is not necessarily worse than their bot lane, so we're gonna work to push a bottom tower within 10 minutes of the first 10 minutes of the game.
10-minute tower kill. Good job, Piglet. It's going to be a fun one to watch. We'll see if you can do it. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck next week. Congratulations on your win. We're going to send it over to Dash and Jat to talk more about that game.
Thank you, Freak. Would also like to extend a thank you to Sonny for helping us with the translations on these interviews. Always nice to have that insight with some of the foreign players. Jumping into this game, though,
it ended so quickly.
It did end so quickly. So I want to go into the last fight, replay real quick. Let's kind of recap, get ourselves reacquainted with the game that ended so quickly. We're going to pull that up on your screens right now, and then we will get it rolling.
Yeah, Team Liquid have been winning most of this game, and they had the Baron before the time. So obviously, if they win a team fight, they can push to end the game. Kiwi Kid goes a little bit crazy here. He has had highlight moments in the past of having big Alistair pulverizes, but the team just wasn't there to back him up. And then once the damage was done, because Team Liquid had Sivir and Twisted Fate, the chase is basically endless for them right there. Just a nice coordination move right there. Everyone willing to expend Summoner spells to go in. They wipe 4 members off from Team Dignitas and then push for the win. I just want to look at that one more time because even we were caught a little off guard. That fight happened, like, game's over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's get ready for the postgame.
Absolutely. And so here's the thing. I first want to look at Team Liquid because, you know, after the last few losses that they had, we started to see some hesitation in their ability to close out the game. Now, they did play it methodically here, but it was still a very fast game. So it's nice to see them close it out, you know, from a time perspective very quickly.
Yeah, I like that because I talked to Peter in the pregame interview because the game yesterday, they had opportunities after a big team fight win like they just had there, and then they didn't end the game.
Right.
So this time they're like, oh yeah, we have Baron buff. Oh yeah, we can just end the game. Let's do it. Because that's what they'll need to be able to do, especially when they get in closer situations, closer games. Being able to judge the Nexus timer without fear is really invaluable. It cost them once this year, and I don't think it'll cost them again.
Now, how they got to this victory and how they got there so quickly. I want to take a look first at Champion Select because today we've actually seen multiple teams come out on top of the Ezreal mid pick. And here, once again, Team Liquid finds a way to do it.
Yeah. This was an interesting choice. So one thing we pointed out or realized is we saw that Phoenix had 104 CS at 10, which is more than anyone else has had at any point at 10 minutes during the split. The second highest was 100 from Victor yesterday against Ezreal. So it is very much a free farm lane if you're willing to execute it, and you're giving away so much just by picking it off the bat. And yes, when he gets his items, his poke is best in class, best in any champion in the game that you'll find. But time and time again, we've seen a return of tanks where really teamfight DPS is what you need, not teamfight poke. And it's been punished multiple times just a day after it kind of caught on. Everyone wanted to jump on the bandwagon. Now, maybe a few people jumping off.
Yeah, so today we've seen kind of that Sivir Maokai combination and then Team Liquid deciding to layer the TF here for the stun, whereas we saw the Jarvan follow up in previous games. Very interesting to see how that has developed. You know, looking forward, Dignitas, I'm not sure, you know, exactly what the pick ban strategy was here because they picked that Ezreal so early.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a 2-day strategy because yesterday when we saw them play Ezreal bottom lane, we're thinking they're probably prepping the mid lane Ezreal for tomorrow because they want to be able to have the questionable switch, and they were just going for a split damage poke comp. They wanted AD and AP, and they thought the best place to maximize that, since AP Ezreal is strong in the mid lane, is they'd end up going with that. But honestly, they drafted it into an engaged team. So Rico did say Team Dignitas likes to play their game.
Yep.
But their game was exploitable today, and that's what happened.
Yeah, unfortunately did not work out for them today. Team Liquid got the better of them in that one. We're going to be right back with our 5th and final match, a battle for 7th place between Team 8 and Cloud9. The North American LCS continues after this.
It's a lot of numbers, 5th place.
Coming in for Dignitas versus Team Liquid. It's going to be a good one. See if he can get onto this fight. Quas has a great hold on the back line right now. Another Arcane Smash keeps Core JJ. Core JJ and Shifter, the 2 DPSers on the outside, but I don't think they can put anything back into the fight. Gamsu's forced to flash out.
Come in. I'm on the E, okay? I'm going Varus. Okay. Shen.
I have a
Shen. I'm flashing. I'm on the Ezreal. Alright, pushed up.
Team Liquid will take the 1-1 over Team Dignitas.